Good morning. Pastor Michelle here with your morning devotional. We continue to read the book of Jeremiah, and we start this morning in chapter 9. If only my head were a spring of water and my eyes a fountain of tears, I would weep day and night for the wounds of my people. If only I could flee for shelter in the desert to leave my people and forget them, for they are all adulterers and a bunch of crooks. They bend their tongues like bows to spew out lies. They are renowned in the land, but not for truth. They go from bad to worse. They don't know me, declares the Lord. Be weary of your friends. Don't trust your siblings. Every sibling is a cheater, and every friend traffics in slander. One cheats the other, no one tells the truth. They train themselves to lie. They wear themselves out by doing wrong. They live in a world of deceit, and in their deceit they refuse to know me, declares the Lord. Therefore, the Lord of heavenly forces proclaims, I'm going to refine and test them, for what else can I do with my people? Their tongue is a lethal arrow. Their words are deceit. I wish their neighbors well, but in their hearts plot their ruin. Shouldn't I punish them for this, declares the Lord? Shouldn't I avenge such a nation? I will weep and wail for the mountains and lament for the grazing lands in the wilderness. They are dried up and deserted. No sound of the flocks is heard. No sign of the birds or animals is seen. All have vanished. I have reduced Jerusalem to ruins, a den of wild dogs. I will make the towns of Judah a wasteland without inhabitant. Who is wise enough to understand this? Who has been taught by the Lord and can therefore explain it? Why has the land been reduced to rubble and laid waste like a desert, with no one passing through? The Lord says, it is because they have abandoned my instruction that I gave them, and haven't obeyed or followed it. Instead, they have followed their own willful hearts and have gone after the Baals, as their ancestors taught them. Therefore, this is what the Lord of heavenly forces, the God of Israel, says. I am going to feed this people bitter food and give them poison to drink. I will scatter them among nations about whom neither they nor their ancestors have ever heard. I will pursue them with the sword until all are gone. The Lord of heavenly forces proclaims, pay attention. Summon the women who mourn. Let them come. Send for them those best trained. Let them come. Hurry. Let them weep for us, so that our eyes fill up with tears and water streams down. The sound of sobbing is heard from Zion. They're devastated. They're so ashamed. We have to leave the land and abandon our homes. Women, hear the Lord's word. Listen closely to the word from his mouth. Teach your daughters to mourn. Teach each other to grieve. Death has climbed through our windows. It has entered our fortresses to eliminate children from the streets, the youth from the squares. Declare what the Lord says. Dead bodies will lie like dung on the fields, like bundles of grain after the harvest, with no one to pick them, the Lord proclaims. The learned should not boast of their knowledge, nor warriors boast of their might, nor the rich boast of their wealth. No, those who boast should boast in this, that they understand and know me. I am the Lord who acts with kindness, justice, and righteousness in the world, and I delight in these things, declares the Lord. The time is coming, declares the Lord, when I will deal with everyone who is physically circumcised, whether they are Egyptians or Judeans, Edomites or Ammonites, Moabites or the desert dwellers who cut the hair of their foreheads. All these nations are really uncircumcised. Even the people of Israel are uncircumcised in heart. Listen to the word that the Lord has spoken to you, people of Israel. The Lord proclaims, don't follow the ways of the nation or be troubled by signs in the sky. Even though the nations are troubled by them, the rituals of the nations are hollow. A tree from the forest is chopped down and shaped by the craftsman's tools. It's overlaid with silver and gold and fastened securely with hammer and nails. It won't fall over. They are no different than the scarecrow in a cucumber patch. They can't speak. They must be carried, because they can't walk. Don't be afraid of them, because they can't do harm or good. Lord, no one is like you. You are great, and great is your mighty name. Who wouldn't fear you, King of the nations? That is your due. Among all the wise nations and in all their countries, there is no one like you. But they are both foolish and silly. They offer nothing, because they are mere wood, covered with silver from Tarshish and gold from Upaz. We are the work of a craftsman and the hands of a goldsmith. Clothed in blue and purple, all of them, nothing more than the work of the artisans. But the Lord is the true God. He is the living God and the everlasting King. When he's angry, the earth quakes. The nations can't endure his rage. Tell them this: the gods who didn't make the heavens and the earth will perish from the earth and from under the heavens. But God made the earth by his might and shaped the world by his wisdom, crafted the skies by his knowledge. At the sound of his voice, the heavenly waters roar. He raises the clouds from the ends of the earth. He sends the lightning with the rain, the wind from his treasuries. Everyone is too foolish to understand. Every goldsmith is dishonored by his idols, for their images are shams. They aren't alive. They are a delusion, a charade. At the appointed time, they will vanish. Jacob's portion is utterly different, because God has formed all things, including Israel, his very own people. The Lord of heavenly forces is his name. Pack your bags and get ready to leave, you who live under siege. The Lord proclaims, I'm going to eject those who live in the land at this time. I will badger them until they leave. How terrible for me, due to my injury. My wound is terrible. Yet I said to myself, this is my sickness and I must bear it. But now my tent is destroyed, all its ropes are cut, and my children are gone for good. There's no one left to set up my tent frame or to attach the fabric. The shepherd kings have lost their senses and don't seek answers from the Lord. That is why they have failed, and their flock is scattered. Listen, the sound is getting louder, a mighty roar from the land of the north. It will reduce the towns of Judah to ruins, a den for wild dogs. I know, Lord, that our lives are not our own, that we're not able to direct our paths. So correct me, Lord, but with justice, not in your anger, or else you will reduce me to nothing. Pour out your wrath on the nations that ignore you, and on the people who don't call on you. Since they have devoured Jacob, they have devoured him completely and ruined his country. I pray that you hear these words this morning, that you remember the message to not boast about the things that we have, but to boast about our knowledge and our wisdom about God, because when we truly know God, we share it with others. I pray that you find meaning in these words of Jeremiah this morning, and that you continue to seek the wisdom that God has for you. I hope you have a great day, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Bye.